Cowherd, do you blame Melo for the OK3's early season struggles?
I don't. Blame's the wrong word here. So I'll just use the word our producers put down. I blame Westbrook. I blame Westbrook. Now, hold on. I blame Westbrook, but what he's going through is really hard. LeBron goes to Miami. It took him 15 games to go, LeBron, it's your team. This is Westbrook's team. He's a more dynamic player than Melo, and frankly, they came to play with him. This is his city, his franchise, his team. But it's hard because all the noise, you're a ball hog, it'll never work, from loudmouths like me. And Russell's conscientious, he hears it, and he gets all these guys in, and he is now playing nice. Okay, wait, I'm gonna get you shots. Russell, this is your team.
So he can't win.
No, he can. It's not about winning. It's about figuring out a difficult situation.
It is about winning games.
Well, no, winning games.
Right.
But this happened to LeBron. It happened to KG.
He's not
hard.
wrong, though, for sharing the ball. Carmelo, you got to watch these games.
I do.
Carmelo plays he thinks he's still in New York.
Well,
he thinks that Ponderosa.
Teach an old dog new tricks all of a sudden?
He's still playing ISO ball. Offense doesn't start till it touches his hand. He's been horrendous. All three of these guys are shooting, a poor percentage. They're all shooting about 17 times a game. But Carmelo has been bad, and we can't ignore the fact the Knicks are so much better without him.
Let me back up Cowherd for a second. Let me just back. When you've got a new bunch of guys, and you've got the richest contract in NBA history in Russell Westbrook, and it's your team, and you were the second best team in the clutch last year if you look at the final 5 minutes of regulation, and all of a sudden they're dead last now. That falls on the point guard's shoulders. Russell Westbrook has to step up. Whitlock, why are you upset?
No, but it's hard.
It's on Westbrook. It's his team.
Again, we've skipped from... Where's the coach in any of this?
Oh, Billy Donovan? Come on.
Well, by the way, that's hard. Spoelstra struggled with LeBron, Wade, we were all going, how can LeBron
They got beat by the Sacramento Kings last night, Colin.
Look, when they all came together, everyone already was critiquing them, saying, how are these guys with their huge egos, how are they possibly going to work out? It's going to be a failure. And now they're getting along, and their problem is that they're sharing the ball a little too much, and we're critiquing them for that. And my argument from the beginning was I actually think these are three guys who haven't been able to get it done and win a championship by themselves. So the only way for it to really work is if they kind of take back their egos a little bit, learn how to work with each other, which is what they're doing. I think this is a great thing that they're having this problem right now. It's not chemistry issues.
Kings.
It's not chemistry issues. Look at the Cavs.
They've
got chemistry issues, even if they're winning a little bit. But they're working together. The ego isn't getting in the way. And I think that's the better way to look at it, and that's something that can be improved.
Let me push back on that, Kristine. So you guys both mentioned the Miami Heat when LeBron got there. That was the beginning of something. Chris Bosh, LeBron, Wade, they had years to figure it out. The clock's ticking on Paul George. He can be out of here in, 7 months, 8 months? I don't think they have that much time to figure it out.
So we're supposed to think that this part of the season really, really matters for OKC, but not for the Cavs?
You can't dig a hole in the West. We know how competitive it is. The Lakers are 500.
That is actually the one thing. It really doesn't matter for Cleveland. I mean, Milwaukee's going to make the playoffs. They have sleptwalked through 2 wins over Milwaukee. You can wake up in about 3 weeks in the West and be in 7 seed.
The Timberwolves are up there.
One team has LeBron and the other team doesn't. Right. So, again, Cleveland, to me, has no part of this discussion. They can wake up from a slumber. This OKC team, unless Carmelo commits to moving without the ball...
That's not going to happen.
...and playing some semblance of defense...
That's not going to happen either.
That's like you need to stick in the corner and say, make corner threes. That's where you are in your career.
You're asking me to stop talking. This is just not going to happen.
No.
All right, Whitlock, you okay with LeVar saying it's no big deal?
Listen, it's a walking interview, and he's talking off the top of his head. So I just want to add that context. But it's stupid what he just said, and he should say nothing at all. He's in a foreign country. He's in China. It's a totalitarian government that has some of the strictest laws on the planet. And so it's best to say nothing and let people with expertise in Chinese law do all the talking for you. The kid's in a very difficult spot. It makes no sense. He drives a Ferrari. Why are you stealing anything? I feel bad for Steve Alford, the UCLA program. This is embarrassing for them. I wouldn't be surprised if these 3 kids are expelled from school. President of the school, the athletic director, they're all on this trip. They're all highly embarrassed. LeVar, at some point, needs to put a sock in his mouth and say nothing, and this is that point.
Yeah, he had a rare opportunity to be humble and whiffed. My general rule when traveling into communist countries, don't taunt the government. It's always been my rule. But this was a rare opportunity to not act, to not be a cartoon character. If you really deeply care about your kids, you would be like, all I want to say is we have utmost respect for the governing body. This is an incredibly serious situation. Now, I'm not blaming TMZ or the camera, but this isn't about LeVar.
That was a reporter who he knew, by the way.
Yeah, this is about your son and a totalitarian government, and they don't play fair. They don't play by our rules. So, I mean, this again is take a deep breath, stop being a pro wrestler, be a dad, be concerned, humanize this moment, and I think he whiffed.
It's being reported that he actually wanted to do a Periscope press conference to address the fact that his son had been arrested, which is literally the worst thing that you could do for your son. It completely disrupts the legal process. You don't want to say anything that could or couldn't get him in trouble or to upset the Chinese government. So exactly like you said, it's not being a good parent. Like at some point, think about what's best for your kid. And doing a Periscope press conference isn't that. He was only stopped from doing it by a legal team that said, hey, just please be quiet. And it is a big deal. Yes, it was in passing, but when Steve Alford has to spend, this trip that was supposed to be team building in China, and he's spending hours in the jail trying to deal with his teammates, and now 3 of them have to stay in a hotel now until the legal proceedings have played out.
Up to 20, 30 days.
That's a big deal.
It gives Alford almost, I could argue, this is my escape clause from the Ball family.
I think that's probably the next layer. And I don't know if it's just Steve Alford, but I would guess the UCLA administration. This is an international black eye for the university. When you turn on the Today Show and Matt Lauer's talking about the UCLA basketball program having players arrested, that's a bad look. I mean, UCLA is an international school. And I just wonder, is this finally going to be the moment where LeVar Ball is a little bit humble? You guys mentioned, for the last year, he has loved the camera. Somebody puts a microphone in front of his face, he's got something funny or witty to say. Is he finally going to dial it back and say, hey, maybe I screwed up somewhere. Maybe I made a mistake at some point because my kid's driving around a $200,000 Ferrari.
Well,
and he's stealing shades.
He just really hurt his own brand because, the big baller brand, if you don't have the money to spend $500-something on his shoes, then you're not a big baller. Yeah. Well, you're also not a big baller if you have to rip off the Louis Vuitton store.
The other thing is, money speaks. And about a year ago, UCLA signed a massive deal with Under Armour. And I was told a couple of months back that Under Armour was very reluctant with the Ball family in the circus. And Under Armour stock was struggling at the time. I don't keep up with it. But I believe they have been looking for an opportunity, this is it, to say, we're done with this circus. To your point, this is an international university who a year ago signed, it was like $1 billion contract with Under Armour. And I think this is a prime example. There was a Ric Flair 30 for 30 on last night. Mm-hmm. He was a wrestler and he lived a really big life. There's always a price to pay for that life. LeVar Ball has led this dynamic, wild, crazy, say anything, offend anybody life. This is the price to pay.
Go ahead.
I just want to add one thing. I want to spank us in the media a little bit. We have coddled and egged this guy on.
We've made him.
The entire time. And, shame on us, to be quite honest with you, because I think most rational people, if it was going to be something that was going to blow up, I think people can see it. Now, who could expect this? A kid with this kind of wealth, shoplifting in
the least
China.
Likely to be anything as a future pro.
But I always, again, my narrative always was this is a Hollywood family with child stars. This won't end well. There's been too many child stars.
At the same time, though, what LeVar did, he's not with his son. He went with the rest of UCLA, and this morning was at, I think, a team breakfast. They're in a different area of China because they're shooting their Facebook show.
Mind-blowing.
So actually, this probably works out really well. They're also opening up their pop-up store for Big Baller Brand, I think, tomorrow. So now he's got a lot of publicity.
Colin, you mentioned UCLA moving on. We know LaMelo's out of high school now. UCLA's not getting LaMelo Ball. It feels to me like this is the end of the Ball family in college. I don't think LaMelo will matriculate. I don't think LiAngelo's coming back to UCLA.
I agree.